Sanusi's useless Southern presidential candidate and the national question. The President's Independence Day speech writers pitifully chose to disrobe him of the warmth, condole, and inspiration of the father of the nation and clothed him in the puerile frigidity in which monumental incompetence is wrapped for the deliberate befundament of the governed. The excessive 7 times use of fellow Nigerians made popular by military adventurers in power was probably to intermittently waking up listeners in the course of the drab and inspiring address, or jolting them to the reality that the speaker is not strange to the use of the phrase in the history of Nigeria, with demonstrable capacity to enforce its declaration that the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. Anyone familiar with the workings of government in Nigeria would note that the speech was a poor processing of this disparate sectoral reports, hurried, synthesized, and handed over to the boss, who delivered some hook, line, and sinker to the world audience, unminding of its structural harmony and semantics. For instance, in deference to Mr. President's sentiments and body language, the speech draftsmen deliberately shied away from linking scarcity of food with activities of terrorist herdsmen, but in the process golfed on pardonably when the meaningless said similarly on our approach to food security. I am proud to announce Nigeria has commenced its journey to pharmaceutical independence. Another fox pass is the thought from the pit of hell that as our food production capacity has increased, food prices have been going up due to artificial shortage created by middlemen who have been buying and holding these essential commodities for profiteering. How pathetic could the Buhari government further be in shedding herdsmen who have continued to drive farmers out of the farms and production? Like a weeping baby, the Nigerian leader lamented that the current state of access to COVID-19 vaccines is unacceptable, noting that we cannot afford a situation where a handful of countries keep the global vaccine supply to themselves at the expense of other nations, as if producing nation owe us a duty of care at the expense of their citizens. On the resolve to arrest and prosecute all persons inciting violence through ways of action, the government needs not to look. The president has them in large numbers, including some of these unbridled spokespersons who only see national issues from sectional and sectarian perspectives, heating up the polity thereby. They are quick to condemn legitimate actions of people and governments of the constituent states other than those from whence they and the president come, and illegal and unconstitutional. They provoke and promote bad blood when they indulge in falsely dressing ethnic cleansing by terrorists in the grab of farms headers clash. They are the same liars and hate speech merchants who included in President Buhari's speech that between 2015 and 2020, Nigerian access to potable water is 71%, when the real figure is less than 7%, for which drilling of private boreholes and production of sachet water are some of the most popular businesses in Nigeria. The government that continue to harbor men who have been exposed by the international community as bigots with undeniable fact and figure cannot be taken seriously when it tolerates the logs in its own eyes while seeking specks in the eyes of its citizens merely to call them bad names in order to hang them. It is doubtful if the president and his handlers are aware of the great damage they do to the image of Nigeria when the president coincidentally declared that the recent arrest of Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho and the ongoing investigation being conducted have revealed certain high-profile financiers behind these individuals, noting that government was vigorously pursuing these financiers, including one identified as serving member of the National Assembly. In civilized claims, this government should have in least apologized for its crime against humanity in the attack on Igboho, which has been condemned by a court of competent jurisdiction as an invasion with gross violation of its inalienable human rights, for which the sum of 20 billion was awarded against the federal government and its agency in punitive damage. If the court adjourned the activities of Igboho as peaceful and permissible in a democratic society, the search for its financiers amounts to what the Yoruba call Arudan, an exercise in fertility. In the same vein, a presidential address on the occasion of the national independence is not where to cast aspersion and Nnamdi Kanu, which activities are a subject of judicial trial initiated by government. Such contemporaneous commentaries on a matter that is judice merely portray us as a nation as being uncivilized even at the highest level. It should be clear to the federal government by now that neither threat nor force can deter men and women, which cause has been articulated and developed into an ideology. Kanu was kidnapped, abducted against international protocol, and dumped into detention without any visible determination for trial. Yet, while Kanu remains in detention, the security situation in the Southeast has generated to a stage where no one or institution save the barracks can fly the Nigerian flag in the Dot territory. If the president sees the activities of Igboho and Kanu as being personal to them and some youths who believe in their causes, killing them is not the solution. The solution lies in several Yoruba philosophies such that no parent set up his errant child to be consumed by the tiger. Rather, if a child is chastised with the right hand, we are enjoined to cuddle him with the left. Let in our overreaction we become condemned like the proverb tortoise who tied his father-in-law to the big tree on the way to the market and who was mocked by all for stealing from tortoise. The condemnation, however, shifted against tortoise when in the evening times the father-in-law was still found on the stake. If you ask me, the situation is really getting out of hand. And truly, what the president was supposed to address on Independence Day was different from what he was talking about. So that is where you will know that this country is indeed a total failure to the whole world, let me put it that way, because the speech of the president on Independence Day was watched by the whole world. Just imagine the president preaching garbage and saying nonsense while he was supposed to address the issue in the country. Now our 30,000 salary monthly cannot even feed us for a week, let alone for a month. So what are you talking about? Nigeria is indeed a corrupt country and the president is doing nothing about it. Instead, he is there chasing shadows up and down instead of him to focus on the main situation of things in Nigeria. Well, you can go to the comment section and share your take on this article. Thanks for listening.